Welcome to our second match from our tournament series taken at Manaleak in Worcester. This is, again, just another random match, so to speak. On the right-hand side here we have Simon from the Charlton Netrunner team playing Noise, and on the left we have, again, a chap I'm afraid I have no idea who it is. Someone can perhaps tell me in the comments, playing Next Design, one of my favourite HB identities, and I think one that will grow strong with time. I'm pretty sure he drew up some nasty ice in his hand there as well, so he's going to get to put 3 pieces of ice if he drew them up down. That's a Janus in hand there, which is not going to come into play till later on in the game, but it's always nice to be able to put down for free. So that's a Janus, 2 Januses, oh my word. So he's got a Janus on R&D, he's got a Janus on the remote. I've got no idea what he's put there in front of HQ, but regardless, that's a lot of ice. So first click is going to play green level clearance, having drawn back up to a hand size of 5. Apologise for the focus in this, it's absolutely appalling. My camera's bad enough as it is. It's not made better by the fact that the tripod seems to be wobbling, and they didn't do the spot focus properly. Wasn't present at the tournament, so I'm afraid I wasn't able to actually deal with the technical side of things. I'll do my very best to decipher what it is they're playing. Well, it's getting worse rather than better. So he's discarding a card there. Having drawn up as well. So the first click is going to run through R&D, which is a Janus, so we know he can't res it yet. He's going to access. Not quite sure what that was, but he's putting it back. Simon has a strong love of Anarch as a general rule of thumb. He loves being able to mill to death. Oh, what a fantastic pull from HQ there. Pulls the Vitruvius, so that's 2 points. Not too bad, so 2 clicks, he already knows that R&D is accessible, and he's already pulled 2 agenda points. Not a bad first turn. You could live with that, I would suggest. And again, immediately getting down the tutoring that he requires as well, putting the gin down, sorry. So he can now bring out any viruses that he needs. So both quite strong in that respect. Lots of money there. I'm not sure whether it's Beanstalk or whether it's a sure gamble. I think they're probably both, not sure gamble, sorry, hedge funds. There's terrible glare on those cards. Deary me, this is the problem with sleeves. Still, we can see the runner's side quite nicely. Again, having not been there, unfortunately, I'm not able to give you an accurate breakdown as to what's what. So Thashahara going on, which is a card that Noise absolutely loves and adores. So he can now not only recur its parasites, but he can do it for free. Once he has the recurring aspect of the deck going, anyway.
Not really, not so much.
Looks like he's taking some money. I think, again, he's got some strong economy cards there in hand. But there's no reason to rush, although, again, the Corp has certainly pulled a lot of cash now, and potentially could bring those Januses into play, but it looks like Simon has a liberated accounts in hand. If he has the breakers he needs, he can get through, but as soon as those Januses get res, then it could potentially be quite a painful situation, certainly on the one on R&D anyway. Oversight AI on a Heimdall 1.0. And I think he's even got the money now to be able to res the Janus behind it. So if Simon does run through here and click through the Heimdall, if there's a Janus waiting for him as a second piece of ice, he's gonna take some brain damage. And there will be absolutely no getting away from that. It's a difficult one now. Does he go through it? He knows he can trash it. If he just clicks through it, he can trash that Heimdall. Do you just kind of suck it up and do it off the bat? What do you do? He's going to use his credits, recurring credits, to install an imp. He's going to run through R&D. Sorry, he's going to mill. Sorry, make a mill one because it's a virus rather. And I have to say, I still think that a lot of people have declared Noise to be dead, probably far too prematurely, really. I think there's still incredible strength in mill, even with Jackson Howard in the game. Using the Jackson Howard to mill back in agendas rather than threats is so much stronger. But with an imp now on the board as well, he's got the chance to go in and trash hard. Didn't decide to go through and break the Heimdall, so he's going to leave it on the board. Not going to run the remote. Just have to be careful there, though. As soon as the Corp gets the credits he needs to res the Janus, he's in for a world of hurt. Always the motto of the day against HB, especially a big ice deck, which this is clearly, is run early. So he scores the Vitruvius, taking it to 2 points all. So there's nothing in to attack the remote now, he doesn't have to worry about it this turn. The question is, does he go for another dig on R&D? Or does he start setting up? He's got some Deja Vu in hands, he could bring back the... Again, he's got lots of recursion there that he can bring back as soon as he finds a Parasite. So first click's going to liberated accounts, and presumably the next 3 clicks he's going to take the money off liberated accounts.
And then 2, 3, 4,
So he's just getting all his credits set up there, and yep, indeed he is taking off as much as he possibly can. So happy days there, lots of money, and there's only 4 left on it. Anonymous Tip, haven't seen that card played in a long time, so he's looking to draw up into his hand. Again, Anonymous Tip has almost entirely been replaced in the meta, I would say, with Jackson Howard, so it's a surprising splash to see in an HB deck that, let's be honest, probably still wants to see Jackson Howards, especially if you're going to be scoring ABTs and using the ability on it, which, let's be honest, who doesn't want to? So he's going to hedge fund there, take some more cash, install into the remote. Again, you've got to assume at this stage it's probably an agenda, particularly because the Corp doesn't have the breakers they need. Oh, excuse me. I would go back and record that again, but I'm afraid you're just going to have to forgive me. I'm not quite sure I can manage to do that. It's late at night. Another Sashahara installed on the Jin. And I'm going to use those credits to install another Jin. Oh my word. And he's going to pass the turn over. So he's certainly got the memory that he needs. And he's going to score the ABT. Is he going to use the ABT though? He's going to use it. That's what we like to see. Reckless play. Fantastic. How lucky does he going to get? He's not going to get that lucky because he's going to install over archives and put 2 cards in. I think that's an Eli. But who knows with that kind of glare, really? Who knows? So the Grimoire going down, which means again he can now bring in lots of virus counters as soon as they're installed. You've got to love being able to use the Sashahara credits like that. So Crypsis coming on with a counter. Such an economic use of it. I think he's... Have you told him to mill? I think he's already milled. So drawing up another Oversight II into hand there. And he's going to install and res the Jackson. So he has got the Jacksons in hand. He's going to draw up with him. Finding another Oversight II and another piece of ice. I'm guessing at this point he really desperately wants to see agendas, because he can score them. I mean, with the Crypsis, you know, it's still expensive to break through big ice decks like that. Not exactly what you want to be using. I think he's checking to see how many agendas he probably has in hand there. And he's going to trash and put some cards back in, which I'm surprised to see him do on his own turn. I would always maintain probably the smarter play is to wait until you force the run and do it. You can do it at any time, there's no risk in leaving it. I guess sometimes in tournament setting it's tempting to just psychologically want to remove threats as soon as humanly possible from the board, a threat of losing. But again, it's 2 points all, it's very evenly balanced at the moment. And again, I wouldn't be too worried about a Crypsis on the board, even again with the big ice deck that he clearly has. A stack of Januses and a Heimdall resed. He's going to run through R&D, and we're going to see... Oh, sorry, no, he's going to use the Oversight Ion on the Janus and pass the turn over. So now it's a challenge getting through there on R&D. again, there's a real option here to just suck it up, take a brain damage, and get it off the board. And R&D suddenly acts as, is completely vulnerable. Um, is it worth being able to access R&D at will for 1 credit? I would say of 1 brain damage, probably yes, it is. So Vamp's going in here. He's going to go through and run HQ instead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I found the exception to the rule.
Sorry, that's a nerve agent, not a Vamp. The art always confuses me. They do look quite similar. He's not going to res the HQ ice. It already comes on with the data sucker token as well. Oh, not the data sucker token, sorry, virus counter. Forgive me, it's the most the normal virus that I'm used to describing. And so again, the nerve agent will suddenly build up and add a huge vulnerability to HQ. He knows now that he's going to be accessing those cards at will. He's already going to be accessing 2. So it's a difficult one. As soon as the runner's successful, I'm not sure, I think that was a Heimdall that he rezzed again there. Another massive piece of ice that he has to deal with, and he doesn't quite have the clicks to get through it, so he may have to suck it up and take the brain damage. And that one was rezzed legitimately, so he can't go through and trash that one. And certainly not what he needs. Oh, he's just going to jack out. I think he's going to click through the brain damage, take the end and run, bounce off. Such a strong opening turn. Being able to have 3 pieces of ice laid down. So again, surprising not to see any early game ice, but big fat ice instead. Not sure if next necessarily is a big ice deck, to be honest. That's a tough one. He's going to oversight AI another piece of ice on HQ there. I've got no idea what that is. Something nasty, we would presume. Stupid glare. Yep, Sai's looking a little bit distraught about it, so whatever it is, not nice. And we can only presume that now he's in a position where he can't actually click through where he needs to. In fact, we haven't seen any early game ice whatsoever. It's all pretty much big ice. But all 3 oversight AIs are now down on the board. You would imagine he probably has some Bioroid efficiency as well in there. But then, again, got a strong rig here. He can go through, find the viruses that he needs and play the waiting game, and just wait for the viruses to, wait for the parasites to trash what he needs. It's not ideal, but it's not terrible. So he's going to virus the remote server, parasite the remote server. I don't think he's going to focus too much on HQ now. But he's looking to start having some, just putting some vulnerabilities in place there. But personally, I probably wouldn't have parasited that res card. I think I just would have clicked through it and trashed it and jacked out. And then ran the next piece, the next turn. He's going to install into that remote. Trash some more cards. So Archive's looking particularly tasty at the moment, it has to be said. I mean, there's got to be a good 5 or 6 cards milled there. I know he's already Jackson Howard once, but gotta be tempting. Gotta be tempting now to have a dig, use the Crypsis and just get through and see if you get lucky. Another Parasite. So just playing a bit of a cautious game here, waiting him out. No immediate rush, he's only on 2 agenda points scored. The Heimdall has a 6 strength, so he's going to have to wait a little while. Unless he can see some data suckers, which he can tutor for if he needs them. If he brought them out earlier, it probably would have been happy days. So again, another card there going on into Archives. Didn't check to see what it was. That's a brave man. Probably more of the Schrodinger's cat kind of theory. The cat is both dead and alive until you look at it. The game is both won and lost until you look at it. I always want to see what gets milled.
Are they all going?
So it's a precarious position at the moment. There is no denying it. So he's cleared virus counters, which screams vulnerability. Already doing it at that stage, when there was only 2 virus counters on it in the first place. I'm surprised he didn't wait out there. I think he probably panicked a little bit. Without a data sucker on the board, there's no reason really to worry about the parasites getting virus counters. You're probably better off just waiting and purging a lot later. So medium goes down. And we're going to perhaps looking to start digging through R&D. And again, the only broker we've seen so far is the Crypsis, which is currently counterless because of the purge. Daily Cast going down for a bit more money. He's having a quick look to see what he's actually put through there in his archives. Deciding whether the game's already won or lost. It's a difficult one. I think he's just drawn up another agenda there. I think he's quite agenda heavy in hand. And suddenly you're vulnerable. So another hedge fund there, taking some more cash. I just think that really a big ice deck is all about rush. You have to rush through your agendas. If you're not rushing through your agendas, then you're not going to win, because being able to click through the ice is absolutely lethal in the late game. It means that no remote server is sacred. With noise putting the extra pressure there on archives makes it even more challenging. I think he's got like 3 agendas in hand. Just a real challenge to deal with at this stage. The remote's vulnerable. We have no idea how many agendas have been milled into archives. He's got 2 or 3 agendas in hand, and there's vulnerabilities there, particularly with the nerve agent down as well. He's going to install, maybe bluffing out of Jackson, or maybe it just is a Jackson. So whatever that was got trashed. 2 strength. Not quite sure what that would be then. Whatever it is, it's gone. Does he now make the run against archives? I probably would. And say, well, if you've got the Jackson, fine. Really, you want a data sucker first. Put a data sucker down, then start running on archives. And then suddenly those viruses, those parasites become a lot more dangerous. A lot more dangerous. I mean, he's got the economy, that's for sure. So he's going to trash the imp, and there comes the data sucker. I think that's an excellent play. Another mill. Now he's going to run archives, so he's only on 2 data sucker tokens. And this could even potentially be the win, let's be honest. And what's he going to see? A lot of snares, Jackson Howard, some ice. Absolutely nothing. Unbelievable. All those mills, and he didn't see a blasted thing. That is incredibly unlucky. But then he had the data sucker tokens to make up for it. It's not, all's not lost. But at this stage, you've got to be thinking, either you want to sweep through R&D, absolutely annihilate it, or you want to use the nerve agent, attack through HQ, and deny him in hand. Either way, the time to strike is now. So that's a melange which he's resing and using. So taking plenty of cash. The viruses are coming down. He now has enough. Does he have enough to go through and trash? No, I don't think he does actually. He's on 5. I think it's strength 6 off the top of my head. So he's probably going to make one run on archives before running on the remote and going through and trashing it, I would suspect. Or not, perhaps. Probably being a little bit hasty. But with archives open, the chances now of being able to take as many data sucker tokens as you want is very strong, and those parasites become horrific. So he's going to surge the parasite, put another 2 on, taking up to 5. I can't help but think that probably the easier play here was just to click through it and break it still. Obviously, once it's broken once, it's gone. Okay, it cost you 3 clicks to break through all 3, but then you spent pretty much the same putting a surge down, doing the run. Yeah, I don't know. I'm happy to spend a turn to get rid of a Heimdall permanently, jack out, and then just approach it again the next turn. And then that's just me. He's going to continue the run, and he's going to see the Janus that he put down opening turn, and he's now low on clicks. I think he's only got a click left. So he's going to take some brain damage here. And this was always the play that was on the cards. Again, which is why I probably would have... You don't want to ever approach unresed ice against HB without clicks handy. It's just not worth the risk. You're just better off saying, no, not going to advance, it's fine, you just keep that there, not a problem, particularly with that many credits on the board. Because now he's got a real issue. I think he's only got one click left. So I think he just used a buttload of cash there. I think he's taken 2 brain damage. I think he's broken some of them, but not. Probably couldn't afford to break all of them. So he's used a lot of money there, and he's still taken 2 brain damage, either 2 or 3. But yeah, running 3rd or 4th click on HB, particularly a big ice HB deck, not a recipe for fun and games. So I think he's got 2, 3. I think he's got 3 cards in hand there.
Nice.
It always looks very different when you're actually playing the game, though. We've got a melange there in hand, and it's you want to go in and you want to trash it because he can just keep using it, building up his credit pool. But that Janus is going to be a real problem. No amount of parasite recursion is going to help him here. That remote is a lost cause as long as he doesn't go and put an agenda in. Otherwise I'd probably just click through and take it. Take the brain damage. He's going to parasite it though, make him mill 1. Comes on with the token. So Janus is 8 strength, off the top of my head. Yeah, 8 strength. It's going to take him a long old while to break it, even with the data stacker now. I guess here do you just keep running against the archives and build up your virus counters? I still think potentially here with a medium on the board, probably R&D attack would have been stronger. Especially because it's quite light anyway.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
There's not a huge amount of cards in there. You've got an Oversight AI Janus, which you can just... I mean, obviously it is expensive to break, but you've only got to break it once.
Yeah. So...
And then R&D is suddenly vulnerable. Wide open, and with a medium on the board, that's nasty. Especially because he's already seen a lot of snares go into archives. He knows that the snares have pretty much left the board now, and he can run with relative freedom. I can play now Clone Chip. That brain damage has got to be weighing heavily upon his mind. Got a Jackson Howard there in hand, which is exactly what he wants to see at this point in the game, and I wouldn't be surprised if he installs it. So he's trashing the melange. I might have wanted to get perhaps one more use out of it. It's going to advance that, so it's not a Jackson. So he's still got effective 5 strength there on the Janus. He's only got 1 data stacker token. It's still going to take him 2 turns to get through and break it. And it's not oversighted AI'd, so it means that it's going to be there permanently. He's going to have to do that every turn. Oh, sorry, well, no, he would trash it because of the parasite, rather. But it's going to cost him. This is certainly a point in the game where you kind of have to think and weigh up your options and decide, do I go through and try and take the card in the remote? With an advancement token on it, you would kind of expect that to be a Project Ares, potentially. Probably not a mandatory upgrades. Maybe a Vitruvius, where he's over-advancing, potentially. Or it could be a Sentinel Defense Program, where he's looking to go for the flatline win. The problem with one advanced card. So he's going to run, he sees nothing again. He has been very unlucky here with his Archives run, there's no denying that. But he gets the data the counter that he needs. Still can't run in and trash that, the Janice. Play another daily cast, looking to build the economy up, probably for the end game, which I think we're probably fast approaching. And it is not what you want to see across the other side of the board. There's two rezzed Janices, both in places that are just horrible to deal with, while at the same time having milled an obscene number of cards. So he scored Project Ares by the looks of that. I don't believe he over-advanced it at all, so it's just a score. I think that takes him to 6 points now. Another data, parasite counter. And he knows here, if he's got agendas in hand, he's probably got the game. It looks like he does. I think that's a Project Wotan, by the looks of it, in hand, a 3-point agenda. So he's going to run through on Archives, and now he's going to run through the Janice. He's going to trash the Janice. Again, he probably could have waited there. There was nothing actually in the server. There wasn't any immediate rush. Why not wait until he actually installs something in there? He probably wasn't going to, because he knew he was going to be able to get through, but there really wasn't a rush there. He's going to put a Cryptus counter on. That brain damage, you could see it's weighing very heavily here on his mind, so he's going to step a new remote, 2 ice, and install. Oh, that's just not what you want to see at all. At all.
It was interesting.
Oh, that's a tough situation now, because he's still got quite a large pile of cash. He's only got 3 cards in hand, or 3 cards in R&D, sorry. What looks like a very small pile anyway. If it's not 3, it's close to it. He's in real danger of being decked out, which again is not something I've seen. There's a few more than that. I think there's about 6 cards there in R&D. But again, if he just keeps recurring parasites, take that, and party. It's not going to take him long to deck him out. So first click he's going to run. Oh, he's a brave man. He's only got 1 counter on Crypsis. He's going to run smack headlong into a Victor 2.0, which is either going to break or he's going to click through. I think he's clicking through that. I think he's realised. Okay, so he's going to play the trace and then the run. He's going to it's running to a howler, which he's going to break with the Crypsis and access and score an ABT. Howler, a great card in next. Even better in Engineering the Future, probably. Oh, now he's going to run through on R&D with a Kraken. Oh, interesting. So, having stolen the agenda, he can now trash the card. Very good. And R&D is now wide open, and suddenly the game is absolutely turned on its head. Going from a position where the corporation was in a real position of dominance, it has to be said. The Kraken comes out, trashes the Janice, R&D wide open. And we're set up for a fascinating endgame here. So he's going to Jackson Howard and put in three cards back into R&D, probably for no other reason than he's worried about being decked out. I don't blame him for. But he's got to be concerned there. He just used 2 pieces of ice to set up that remote. How many more pieces of ice does he even have in hand? That's the question. He's got 1, I can see, but is it enough to actually protect R&D? With a medium on the board, already has 1 counter. And we know the snares have pretty much gone. Oh, he's not even going to bother protecting R&D. He's going to go straight in for the remote. That's a brave man. Brave or foolish, I suspect we're about to find out.
Yeah. I think I'm psychic. I might have to go buy a lottery.
He's given some real thought to that one, and I don't blame him. He's going to take some money. Wow, okay. I don't think that was a strong play, I have to be honest. I think he was probably way better off there protecting R&D. Mainly because he hasn't got a choice here. If there's any agendas left in R&D, we're going to find him with the medium counters. So he's going to run. Sees nothing. I don't think. Maybe he's debating whether to trash. Which would make sense if he's got the cash to do. He might as well trash what he can. He is going to trash it. I think that was an awakening sensor. That looks like an agenda to me. Oh no, it doesn't. Sorry, hedge fund maybe. So it's got 2 tokens on it. And it's got 3 tokens on it. He's going to run again. And he's going to see a Jackson. He's going to see something else. And another one. Nothing. Nothing at all. Wow. So he knows there's no agendas there for at least another 3 turns. Doesn't matter. If there's any agendas left in R&D now, he's going to win the game. Even though he's only on 2 points. Sorry, 4 points. It's just the case you're going to pull a lot of agendas now with that many advancement tokens on a... he's going to do it again. No, he's not. Sorry, he's going to pass it over. Do you clear virus counters? I guess at this point that's the challenge, isn't it? The problem is with a wide open R&D, he could just do it again. So he's going to actually, no, he's going to install into the remote, he's going to advance it twice, and he's going to say, you're going to have to try and beat me. Again, I'm pretty sure that's a Wotan, which means that it's a 3-point advancement, a 3-point agenda. He needs to find the solution for that. Because that will be the game. So suddenly that remote is priority 1, 2 and 3. Especially as he knows that R&D doesn't have what it needs. He's going to parasite the Howler, which means it'll be trashed. Making him mill 1. Which I don't think he's doing. There we go. Which I guess reduces the need to put an extra counter on Crypsis. He's on 2nd click. He's going to put a Crypsis counter on. So 3rd click he's going to run. And he's going to run into an Itchy. Oh, that's not what you want to see. He now knows he can't get through. I don't know how much cash he's on. He could potentially trash the Crypsis and go for a hell for leather, break through the Itchy, and then trash the Crypsis to get through the Victor 2.0. And then just hope that that's an agenda. If it's not an agenda, then he might have more issues, but then he can always tutor for what he needs. Even though they go to his heap, I think he's still got clone chips he probably hasn't used. Again, if you've got the cash, unfortunately I can't see how much cash he has, it's off screen. I know he's got a fair amount. So he's just working out what he needs to break the Itchy. With a Crypsis it's going to cost him a fair bit. It's 4 strength with 3 subroutines.
So you can now attempt to... and will succeed.
So he's going to pay 7
Well, you've got to decide to boost it.
and break through the Itchy.
I'm good at succeeding. I'll take brain damage. Lose the the middle one. And then I will click through Victor. And you win. Do I say, is it there?
And I think he's just won the game. I think the corp there knew he had to take it. It was a tough one. The runner knew he had to go in and grab that agenda. He didn't have much choice. He was completely agenda flooded. There's no denying that. So a close match, but I think the right decision. So it was a good match.